Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. So thrilled to have you with us. There's a lot to explore inside this half-hour browse through pages designed to inform and inspire. I'm your host, Jabertha Atkinson. Buckle up, it all begins now.
All registered electors are allowed time off to vote on election day. Under the law, every employer shall permit employees to be absent from work on polling day for 3 hours in addition to the normal lunch hour. This does not apply to employees who begin work at 10 a.m. or after or end work at 2 p.m. or earlier. Remember, time off to vote on election day is your right. That was an important announcement from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Monday, August 18, 2025. Several communities in St. Ann are now benefiting from the $370 million Drax Hall to Landovery pipeline project, which was commissioned into service last week. It's part of the overall Runaway Bay to Maumee Bay pipeline system and was commissioned into service by the Minister with responsibility for water, Matthew Semuda, following a tour of several water projects in the parish. He says the upgraded pipeline is expected to result in further developments along the North Coast corridor.
So when you see an investment of over $370 million, we expect the business community to respond with corresponding investments along this corridor. And we're not asking them to do it for charity, we're asking them to do it for the profit that will come from the nearly 7,000 homes that we expect to be built between Drax Hall and indeed Runaway Bay.
The Runaway Bay to Maumee Bay pipeline project is a major infrastructure initiative by the National Water Commission, NWC. It involves the installation of 7.6 kilometers of 300mm pipelines, which will deliver an additional 2 million gallons per day to meet the medium-term water demand of the area. The project will serve the communities of St. Anne's Bay, Priory, Plantation Cove and surrounding communities, as well as the Seacrest Beach Resort, Chuka Cove and Cliffs, and the Paradisiac Housing Development. There has been a marginal increase in the number of students who passed 5 Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC subjects, including mathematics and English this year. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon revealed the results during a press conference on Friday.
So in 2024, 18% of our students would have had 5 CSECs with maths and English A. So 6,024 students. This year we have 6,200. So we've improved to 19.2%. And as we continue the interventions, we expect that this number will continue to go up in terms of our students getting more 5 or more subjects, including maths and English.
Giving a breakdown of the individual subject performances, the minister revealed that 85% of students received a passing grade in English A, while 44% passed mathematics, both an improvement over the 2024 performance and higher than the regional average. Meanwhile, 90% or more of students passed food, nutrition and health, theater arts, and principles of business. There were also high pass rates of over 80% in information technology, agricultural science, biology, and visual arts. Dr. Morris-Dixon says the ministry will be doing more work to improve the performance in subjects such as physics, chemistry, and social studies, which only received pass rates between 58 and 63%.
We know that a part of that problem has to do with the labs. And that is why we have the lab program. So we did an audit of all science labs, and we have started a procurement to get equipment for the labs in our science, for our science areas. And so we think with that, when we equip the labs and we do some more targeted interventions there, we can work to get those numbers up.
30,514 students were registered for CSEC, but only 93.9% sat the exams. A new generation of highly trained officers have graduated and joined others at the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, to stand on the front lines of Jamaica's border security. The 28 immigration officers from Batch 19 graduated in a ceremony held at the Jamaica Defense Force Caribbean Military Academy in Kingston last Thursday. Chief Executive Officer of PICA, Garth Williams, stresses that border security rests on having competent frontline officers, hence the investment in training these immigration officials.
This cohort, you hear the gamut of skill sets that they have been trained in over the last few weeks. Human trafficking, human smuggling are part of the landscape of border security. But travel facilitation is also, as a tourist destination, a major part of what we do. And striking that delicate balance between facilitating efficient, seamless travel of more than 3 million passengers coming in a year is an important part of Jamaica's economic development.
He says this investment in human capital is not just about filling positions, but about building capacity, resilience, and a culture of service that protects Jamaica's borders and enhances the country's global standing. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining is developing a plan to make fuel more affordable and accessible to fishers across the island. Portfolio Minister Floyd Green made the disclosure last week as he handed over boats and engines to 5 young fishers from St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. He says the initiative is being designed to reduce operating costs for fishers to ultimately increase their productivity and profitability.
We know that oftentimes the cost of the fuel is one of the challenges that people have. So we are working out a model where it will get you fuel cheaper and it will also bring the fuel directly to your beaches so that you don't have to travel to get the fuel. You will hear more about that, but we have listened and we know if we cut down your costs, then you will do more. And that is what we want.
Minister Green highlights that the move is part of the government's broader investment in the fisheries sector, which includes infrastructure upgrades, renovation of the Black River Fish Market, and the 5-year Fisheries Incentive Program. Added to this, he says the ministry will be moving to establish regional centers for the National Fisheries Authority to further strengthen the support provided to fishers.
We're going to do one in Montego Bay, right? We're going to do one in St. Mary, and we're going to do one right here in Black River. So over the next few years, we're going to transform what you see here into the regional office for the National Fisheries Authority.
And finally, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, has made provisions to access gated communities as it carries out the latest Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions, JSLC. The survey began on August 4 and will be conducted over 4 months, targeting 12,000 households island-wide. Director of Statin's Field Services Division, Philone Mantock, says proactive steps are being taken to ensure smooth access to gated communities by field interviewers.
So the ones with the households that are in gated communities, we reach out to the Strata Association, the property managers in general, but we're imploring persons because it's difficult, because when the interviewer gets there, it's an automatic gate, the security guard is not receptive.
Ms. Mantock, who was addressing a recent JIS think tank, assures that all data collected is secure.
The data that is collected, it is encrypted, so the data cannot be accessed by someone who should take the tablet. The tablet is password protected to open the tablet, as well as the software that the interviewer uses to collect the data. So it has 2 levels of protection. Now, based on how it is designed, they will not be able to access the data.
The Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions, conducted annually since 1988, plays a key role in shaping and evaluating national policies and programs. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Jamaica's agricultural commodities such as coffee, cocoa and spices are important economic crops that fetch premium prices on the international market. We are turning the pages now for a look at the body responsible for developing, regulating and ensuring standards within the agricultural commodities industry.
If you're in the business of coconut, cocoa, coffee, or spices like ginger, nutmeg, pimento, or turmeric, there's one name you need to know: JACRA. Short for the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA is both a promoter and a protector. It supports industry growth, sets and enforces standards, and ensures Jamaica's agricultural exports remain globally competitive. But JACRA isn't just about rules and red tape. The agency plays a balancing act, promoting growth and development in 7 key agricultural commodities, known locally as the 3 C's and 4 spices. One of its most powerful tools, licensing.
If it is that you manufacture, distribute, or process a regulated agricultural commodity, if you export or import, if you operate works related to it, if you establish or operate a nursery for any of those, or if you operate as a dealer or special dealer for any of our regulated agricultural commodities or their substitutes, then you are engaged in regulated activities and you must be licensed by JACRA. Licensing pretty much ensures that everyone is participating in the industry is legitimate and accountable. And this is a big deal because properly implementing licensing, properly enforcing licensing protects the honest operators within the industry because licensing levels the playing field. It prevents unfair competition from unlicensed players who don't follow the rules. Licensing also allows us to defend our brands. For example, everybody knows about Jamaica Blue Mountain, Jamaica High Mountain Coffee. Those brands are world famous and globally respected. Licensing allows us to say you cannot use our trademark unless you have a license. And we have to enforce that trademark and enforce that license in order to prevent counterfeit from flooding the markets and damaging our global reputation, and also importantly from diverting revenue that would normally come to our coffee farmers and our stakeholders to illicit actors. Licensing also ensures food safety because, of course, licensing has standards, requires all licensees to meet those standards, and it prevents substandard products from entering the market, protecting our consumers' health and also our reputation internationally. And also importantly, something that we're talking about more frequently now, licensing protects or preserves our market access internationally.
Recognizing that licensing has been under-enforced in the past, JACRA is stepping up.
So JACRA is streamlining its licensing processes, making it more efficient for the stakeholder as well as for use in the market. We're also stepping up enforcement because what's the point of having fair rules if they're not being applied? We're also cracking down on the misuse of our trademarks.
Don't get caught offside. Operating without a license or misusing trademarks could lead to penalties. But enforcement isn't the goal, it's compliance.
We're encouraging you to contact JACRA and we will assist you through the process. We will help you identify the appropriate license for your activity. You know what applications you'll need. We can provide you with information on the varying requirements and application fees, which currently have been discounted by 50%, I might add.
If you need more information on licensing, please email JACRA at customerservice@jacra.org or call 876-923-2633 or 876-758-1442.
As children prepare to pursue the next chapter of their learning and educational development in the new school year, the doors of opportunity are also open for the deaf and hard of hearing learners. Parents are encouraged to enroll their child or children with such conditions in a school that best supports their special needs.
At At the Jamaica Association for the Deaf, one of the things that's very critical to us is educating our children. We are an 80-year-old organization now, and we manage 7 schools and units across 4 parishes. So we have the Lister Gilby High School for the Deaf in Papine, and the Danny Williams Primary School for the Deaf in Papine. We also have the JD Preschool, which is where our little ones, we would love for them to start. That's where the language acquisition can be very strong because it is preschool and the child is like a sponge. Attached to our Danny Williams Primary School is a unit at the Excelsa Primary School, which is our EXED unit. Attached to the Lister Gilby High School is a unit in Port Antonio, or Port Antonio unit, and a unit in Maypen in Woodside. And then we have St. Christopher's School for the Deaf, or boarding facility at a primary level. As JAD schools, we have been running a project with the support of the USAID, and we've acknowledged that across the system, we currently have approximately 400 students in school. So we're looking at 400 students currently in school, but some estimates have now given reason to believe that we should have at least 1,000 students across the island with hearing loss, significant enough for them to need either special education placement in a school for the deaf or special education placement in a mainstream school with special accommodations. Now, those special accommodations can be a hearing aid, and under our business division we do have a hearing assessment center, which is how we find the children to place in school. We acknowledge that there are some kids who will not need deaf education placement, but they may need to be in a smaller classroom size. And the way our education system is structured, you on average have a classroom size at the primary level with 44 students. Now, if you're a student who has hearing loss and uses a hearing aid, and you're in a classroom where there are 44 students, 1 teacher, and a blackboard dividing the room, 9 out of 10 you're not catching much in the classroom. And so the impact that has on the students is that it means that for a number of years, they are performing either at bare minimum or below bare minimum. And unfortunately, they may be just passed through the system. Schools may express to the parents, I'm sorry, we can't keep the child any longer because we recognize that there's a challenge and we recommend you do assessment. If the parent is afraid to do the assessment, they remove the child, move them to another school, and for the sake of ensuring that the schools have their numbers, the school may accept the student without even really questioning what happened at the previous school, why were you moving. So we, knowing that our school population is low, we're working to get more persons to be more aware of the fact that we do have schools for the deaf, that we do appreciate that maybe the student just needs a hearing aid, just needs preferential treatment in the classroom with a preferred seat, with more one-on-one attention, with a smaller classroom size. But our goal is ensuring that whatever the hearing loss, the child can be supported. The child can be given the education that they deserve, because we are firm believers that every child can learn and every child must learn. We are grant aided by the Ministry of Education to manage our schools, which means that our school fees and the costs aligned to sending your child to a school for the deaf is not significantly exorbitant. Most people, when they think of special education placement, they think of a private institution, and so the assumption is that it's going to be extremely expensive. For us, because we're granted by the Ministry of Education, we do teach the national standard curriculum. Our students throughout the education system, they do the same assessments that mainstream students do, and they are supported with teachers who have signing skill, as well as what we call deaf culture facilitators, who are teachers' aides, deaf adults who have strong signing capacity and are able to kind of help. So in the space where our concept is unclear, it's a tag team of teacher and DCF that help to support the student to ensure that they learn. And it's bilingual. So we're teaching English as a written language and sign language as an expressive and conversational language. We are also running a Jamaican Sign Language grammar curriculum. In the same way that as hearing persons, we learn English, because it's not assumed that you have a strong foundation in English. We are also teaching our students sign language to ensure that there is a continuance of the standardization of the language, and to also ensure that they have a strong foundation language to run on. Majority of our students are coming from hearing families, and so it's impractical to assume that a student coming into our school is going to have sign language already, which is why early identification and early intervention is important, because it means that a child coming into preschool is going to be learning sign language and English at the same pace that a student in a mainstream school is increasing their language capacity in English. Because education is our core focus, one of the things that's very critical for us is ensuring that we not only have children in school, but that we're adequately supporting them once we get them into school.
It's back to school time here in Jamaica. Parents, instead of tossing out those gently used textbooks,
we are encouraging you across Jamaica. Parents, you have children who have come through one grade going on to another grade, and you have textbooks that are in good condition. Please don't just get rid of them and set them aside. Let us exchange them with other parents who could use that, so they don't have to fork out all of that money to buy a new set of books. And you can maybe do an exchange with a parent who is with a child in a higher grade that your child will be progressing to.
Save some money and help someone else gear up for the new school year. It's a win-win for everyone. Practice a combination of healthy lifestyle habits, such as consuming a balanced diet, exercising regularly, getting sufficient sleep, and avoiding smoking and excessive alcohol. Why? Because this is crucial for preventing non-communicable diseases and ensuring longer, fulfilling lives. In these few remaining minutes of Jamaica Magazine, we'll learn more about the healthy lifestyle choices and behavior we can adopt.
As non-communicable diseases, NCDs, like cardiovascular conditions, diabetes, cancer, and chronic respiratory illnesses continue to rise, adopting healthier lifestyle choices has never been more important. These diseases are often linked to lifestyle factors such as diet, physical activity, and mental well-being. Non-communicable disease coordinator for the Western Regional Health Authority, Dr. Marcia Johnson, helps us to understand the practical ways of reducing the risk of getting NCDs. As she explains, there are 4 core habits that can help individuals reduce the risk of NCDs: maintaining a balanced diet, engaging in regular physical activity, limiting alcohol consumption, and quitting smoking.
Physical activity and regular exercise in particular is very important in reducing our risk for non-communicable disease. It strengthens the heart, it helps to control blood sugar and lowers blood pressure. It has great benefits for managing your weight, and obesity is also a very strong risk factor for some of these diseases. And so we encourage persons to engage in physical activity. Start small, but be consistent. In addition, rest, very, very important. Being able to manage stress, also very important, and having good relationships with others.
When it comes to diet, there are some basic things to keep in mind.
Reduce salt, reduce sugar, reduce fats. Increase fruits and vegetables, increase your fiber, and watch the portion sizes, because sometimes even when you are eating what seems to be the healthy things, you are consuming too much of one thing at one time. So we have to also watch the portion sizes. Drink lots of water, and I think if we lean more towards a plant-based diet, having our whole grains, our peas and legumes, then we are on the better road for good nutrition.
Mental health is often overlooked when discussing physical health, but one cannot be achieved without the other.
And we are seeing mental health issues emerge more and more each day. It happens with our patients, the healthcare providers, the family caregivers. It affects everybody. And so in order to manage stress, some of the things that we can do is learning how to prioritize, learning how to be more organized for efficiency, staying connected with loved ones, taking breaks when you need. We have to get sufficient rest. Some people do deep breathing exercises that is helpful in just calming you in the moment when the stress is on and the crisis comes. Just take deep breaths. Prayer works, or meditation for some persons. That is also very useful. But the truth is, we have to learn how to balance. And one of the hardest things is to be able to say no. We have to learn how to say no and when to say no, because there are some things that just have to be put aside in order for us to cope with what is happening. And guess what? If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you find that you are not managing, it's okay to ask for help.
Another key aspect of managing health is regular screenings.
The Ministry of Health has launched this Know Your Number campaign, and it continues to bear fruit. We want persons to at least know your blood pressure status, your blood sugar, your body mass index, or we call BMI, which is the ratio of your weight to your height. And we also want you to do your blood cholesterol checks. But in addition, we want women to ensure that they have a pap smear done, they have a breast examination and or mammogram done, and for our men to do their prostate check.
By staying on top of these basic screenings, individuals can catch potential health issues early and to take proactive steps toward prevention.
We have to start out by setting realistic goals. Setting realistic goals, finding a way to track the progress. We have to find a support system. We can't do this thing alone. So whether it is a colleague, a family member, or just a friend, get somebody else to be along with you. Aim for progress and not perfection. And listen, if you fail or if you fall down, don't stay down. Start again. Non-communicable disease is a real thing, and we're seeing it happening in younger persons. We're seeing cancers occurring in younger persons. But the way to reduce our risk is by engaging primarily in 4 healthy habits: eating healthy, increasing our physical activity, avoiding alcohol, and quit smoking. And in addition, the rest, relaxation, recreation, and prayer will help us along the way.
Adopting healthier habits is not just about preventing illness, it's about creating a sustainable, fulfilling life.
Our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine ends right here for today. But please join us again tomorrow on this station for more news, features, and information you can use to live, work, raise families, do business, and of course retire in paradise. In the meantime, visit our website jis.gov.jm for this and other offerings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Jabertha Atkinson. Till next time, take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.